Hey guys, welcome back to Power Up Gamers with Driven D and D. And I want to do a video because I've been looking on a monster PDF supplement and we're talking about doing a Kickstarter and things like that. So I want to kind of fill people in on what's going on. We are almost done adding the stat blocks to a Google document, and we have most of the black and white concept art are added in as well. We're working on more history of these different monsters as we're getting ready to launch off a campaign to playtest, and we playtested some of them. So we're doing pretty good. We're on track with it, and little bit I'll show some of what the monsters look like, and I may even show the Google or Doc arc itself. Just so you guys get a feel for kind of what we're doing. But I want to talk a little bit about the timeline we're working under. We are hoping to be done with the rough draft in the Google document by the second week of November, so about a month away. And at that time, we want to start basically a month-long Kickstarter. We're wanting to end it about a week and a half before Christmas, and ideally we will release the PDF a couple days before Christmas. That way it's available as Christmas gifts. With that being said, there's a couple things we're looking at doing with the Kickstarter. We figured out pretty much the minimum goal we're asking for is going to be $500. And with that, we can release 26 of the monsters that we're working on as a base PDF with it's really nice black and white art. And then as we go up for stretch goals, we'll include more of the monsters as we'll get better artwork, including in color, eventually hopefully reaching the high quality that I would love to have in it. Some of the different things we're looking at doing along with the PDF include releasing products in our product shop, such as t-shirts and coffee mugs that have the image and artwork for the monsters. Probably only a couple different monsters. Some of the more popular ones is kind of I'm hoping to go for, but we're looking at doing that as part of the Kickstarter, and maybe even in having for the higher pledge ounce miniature or the 3D printing of one of the monsters. I think that would be cool. So that's kind of what we're working on as far as that goes. So, I hope that kind of gives people a feel for the timeline. I'm looking forward to a bunch of support from different communities like Absolute Tabletop, RPG Brigade, since this is our first PDF we're actually putting out, it's kind of a trial and error, but trying to bring a high quality product that people will find interesting and use. So let's talk a little bit about what you can expect in the monster PDF. And if you give me just a second, I will pull up one of the monsters as itself. And we'll talk about the crystal cat. Some of you guys might be familiar with if this is my Harbinger campaign, because in that campaign they have crystal cats as a companion. So this is currently what we're looking at with the crystal cat. These are basically cats made out of living crystal. Oh, they could be emerald, diamond, ruby, whatever. Now, one of the things to me that makes this monster interesting is it's meant to be a companion animal, but not just like your typical familiar or your typical ranger companion animal. Or people in my settings use these as an organization thing. For those familiar with old school D&D, like second edition, and with some of the books, they had an organization called the Harpers. I could see the Harpers using these as companion animals. So that's kind of my thing. The idea kind of came to me from one of my favorite authors, Mercedes Lackey, in her Heralds of Valimar series. They have the heralds, which all have basically horses that are companion animals, that are telepathic kind of creatures. So that's kind of what I did with these. You can see from the page, they are considered small fey beasts, the neutral good. They are CR5, so if you were to fight one, party of 5 should be able, or a party of level 5 should be able to handle this. They're very dexterous, very charismatic creatures. They are immune to several things such as psychic, radiant damage, but they're vulnerable to acid. And they use true sight as a sense. For me, that's just kind of how I pictured them, as the cats that can see things as they really are. So some of the abilities we gave them was a telepathic bond in which they choose a living creature to bond with, and they may speak to the companion anywhere on the same plane or dimension, and through telepathic abilities. They also get multi-attack. But what's really interesting is some of the legendary actions. And I did these a little bit different than the typical 5E, E, even though I call them legendary actions, is I gave these abilities basically a recharge of 5 or 6, very similar to a dragon breath weapon. And kind of my reason for that is I wanted them to be able to use it, but not all the time, so they weren't super powerful. So some of these are the crystal cat and its companion can teleport 30 feet in any direction. They have what's called a life fountain, which is a healing thing. They can heal 2d10 worth of hit points to any target within 5 feet. And racial communication. This one's really interesting and I can see being played out a lot. A crystal cat using this ability may talk telepathically to another crystal cat, no matter its location. So even across planes and dimensions. And so that's kind of the feel of this monster. We have some very basic details with terrain right now. Those will be expanded a little bit. Right now, for basic details with terrain, they can be found in the Fey Forest of the Fey Wilds. And the very elusive creatures that are highly sought after because they're telepathic and they can hear. They've also been hunted a lot because of these abilities and the high demand for them. So they become kind of distrusting to strangers, but if the companionship's earned, it's worth the effort. So that's kind of one monster I'm looking at doing. And we have a bunch of different monsters. I'll switch over to my other PDF, which kind of has them listed by CR rating, and so we can kind of cover some of them. We have a killer rabbit. We have a gem leprechaun. We have a blink wasp, a pygmy drake, a dream lily, samurai octopus, a displacement owlbear, a vampiric tree, a shadowkin, which is basically a being made out of pure shadow. We actually statted out the Native American and legend of a skinwalker. We have a Dracatar, which is basically a minotaur with the upper body of a dragon and bone. We have an undead troll. We have a humming nymph, which is basically a nymph that uses sound. So kind of like a banshee, only not so much screaming and crying, but more just sound of her voice singing. So almost like a siren, but it's a nymph. We got a trumpeter, and a lot of these names are working names. aims that will be changed. The trumpeter is basically a centaur, but the upper half is a Venus flytrap. We have Vergurta, which is a centaur, but the upper half of a gorilla, a sky kraken, and a soul stalker, a psionic necromancer. So a bunch of different monsters that will be quite interesting to see played out. So I hope everyone likes what we're doing with them. But I just wanted to do a quick video kind of showing what we're working on in a little bit of the progress that's been made, because I know we've been working on it for several months now, and we are getting really close to having the rough document done and in the Google Docs, and then working on page layout and making it look good is kind of our next step up after we finish the few odds and ends that we got left. So I'm really hoping in the Kickstarter idea will go good. It's the first time, not just me releasing content like this, but it will also be my first Kickstarter. But there's just no way that we could do it without support, or to the level that we want to do it. Mostly because as if we use all the monsters we're coming up with and cover art, you're looking at 79 images, which is close to $8,000 worth of artwork if we do high quality art. So we have to kind of do Kickstarter, because I personally can't afford to fund that kind of level of artistic endeavors. And so stay tuned, and I'll be doing probably one more of these videos shortly before the Kickstarter starts. It's to just kind of update people on the project. So I hope you guys enjoyed the brief look into what we're doing. And until next time, may the dice always roll in your favor.